Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do my Pan Nose Eyeshadows Pan That Palette update. If you can hear noise in the background, my son is watching a colors thing on YouTube. So please ignore it. If it is too distracting, then obviously click away. I do apologize, but I want him to have some fun. So, okay, I am going to update you on the two eyeshadow palettes that I've been working on. I switched this project around when I moved in September, and I really liked to have just like a focus palette for the month, and I've decided to have two focus palettes for the month. And this is my second update that I've done. Obviously it is November, it is December, what am I saying? It's December, and normally I would do a finale at the end of the month. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I might just keep rolling this on. I don't know, really. It's kind of in my head as to what I really want to do with this project, but I'm really enjoying what I've done so far, so hopefully it is entertaining. Just close the door so it's a little bit less distracting, so hopefully it should be fine. Okay, so let me get straight in. This one is a little bit of... It's a good update. I actually have some new pans in my palette. They weren't my focus shades, but I do have pans in my palette, so I'm super excited about that actually. So let's go into the first one that's on the top of the list. I don't even know which palette I use the most. I try to use them both sort of equally, and my focus was to have used all of the shades at least once, and also have two focus shades per palette that I would work on more than others, but I don't really know if I've necessarily done that, but I did try to do that. Okay, so my first palette that I've been working on is the Book of Magic from Beauty Bay. I really love this. I got it last year, and this is what it's looking like. Actually, let me flip it over. It's looking like this. So as you can see quite clearly, I have a new pan here, and I also have a new pan here. It's really hard to see because the pan is the exact same color as this shade, but I have two new pans. I already had this pan expanded slightly. I really love the fact that I have gone in, used this. You can physically see change, you can see damage, as you will, and I really enjoyed it. So I will go through all of the shades that I have been working on, give you the numbers, and yeah, I'll just get started, I guess. So Vanish, I used 7 times, but there is no real difference in that one. I use a big fluffy brush and it's quite powdery. I will hit pan eventually, but it's not like a focus sort of pan that I will get. Stardust was one of my focus shades, so it looks like this now. I'll just put a picture of what it looked like before and then the after. I only used this 4 times, so it wasn't a huge amount, but there is progress in terms of what it looks like. I don't think there was any dip in it before I rolled it in to the project, so quite happy that there is physically a dip there, you can see, and it's quite a nice shade. It wasn't the shade that I was hoping to get, because the whole reason of me pulling this palette in for this focus month was to use some of the colorful shades. As you can see, I've got blue on. Blue is not a color that I am really comfortable with, but I think since I've dyed my hair, which you can't see because it's up in a bun, but because I've dyed my hair, it's less orange, so I feel like blue actually complements me now, as opposed to when I had the orange hair and I just couldn't get away with wearing blue. It just looks stupid. So yeah, this was my focus shade, but it, I only used it 4 times. I could have pushed myself, but I just, I was enjoying the palette. I was just using what I wanted to use. The second shade is Amulet. I used that 3 times. Alchemy, which is this one, I used 5 times. This I use mostly in my inner corner and brightening. It's really beautiful. There's that nice dip. Enchanted, I already had a pan because it was in my Pan Nose Eyeshadows earlier in the year, but I ended up using it twice, so I expanded it a little bit. This shade, Manifest, I also had in my Pan Nose Eyeshadows early in the year, but I never hit pan, but there is quite a dent when I rolled it in, and I used that 6 times. I actually used it 5 times, I hit the dent, and then I used it 1 more time after that. This shade is called Wish. Only used it once. I haven't done a huge amount of blue looks or green looks, and I just feel like, there wasn't a lot of time to use that. So I only used it once. Crystal is the next one. I used that twice. I thought I was going to use it more. It's a beautiful shade, but I just didn't use it more times. Sorcery I used twice. Voodoo I used only once. I really didn't do too many purple looks this month. Enchanted, yeah. No, this is Bewitched. Bewitched I used once. Spell I used twice. I'd put it on today again, but I kind of layer it. So actually on my lids today, I've got Elixir, I've got Cursed and Hex sort of as a like a deeper liner. And then I've got Spell on the lid topped with Moonlight, and that's why it's all shimmery. I really love Moonlight for that reason. But yeah, Spell I used twice. Hex I only used once, which was today. I kind of forced myself to use it. I just didn't want to use it, but I used it this tiniest amount with Cursed. And Charmed, I used it twice. Elixir, I really love this shade. I wish I used it more times, but it just wasn't looking good. And then I have used it twice now since I've dyed my hair. And I've only used it twice. So yeah, those are the only 2 times. I know I used it, before I rolled this into the project, I know I used Elixir at least 1 time in the Shop My Stash video. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful blue. I love that shade of blue. I just think it's like a mermaidy blue. I don't know, I love it. Moonlight, I had a really nice dip in before I rolled this into the project, and I hit pan quite easily. I also used it 7 times, but I think I hit pan after 3 times. And yeah, as you can see, it's a big shiny pan, but it's quite hard to see. But this shimmer is a lot softer than some of the others. Some of these shimmers aren't as soft. So for instance, Spell is not as soft as Alchemy. Alchemy, Moonlight are quite crumbly, and also Stardust, they're a little bit more crumbly. Jinx is kind of like Spell, it's less crumbly. Charmed I haven't used enough times, so I don't really know, but you can also like physically see where I didn't use too much of the shade, but there's quite a dent. And Spell, yeah, I only used it twice, but it really doesn't feel like I've used all that much. Anyway, Moonlight I used 7 times. I actually use that more times than, oh no, I used this one and this one the most this month, which is kind of interesting. Cast I used once, so that was today. And Jinx I used once. I actually used this on a look that I had to wipe off because it ended up being quite badly, but I still marked it as a usage because I still used it for a look, if that makes sense. So hopefully that's not cheating, but because I did actually use it, it didn't work out the look. Trick I used once, and then Potion was my second focus shade. So with my focus shades, I told myself I want to use them at least 5 to 10 times. I might have said in the video 10 times, but in my head I was thinking at least 5 times, you know? Which obviously I failed on Stardust. I only used it 4 times. With Potion, I mean, it's a really dark shimmery blue. It's not something that's easy for me to wear. And I used it 3 times. So I feel like that's a really good result because it was quite a hard shade for me, especially since I was veering actually away from blues because of my hair. And now I feel like I could wear more blue because of my hair, but I'm rolling this out. So to be honest, it was such a pleasure to work through this the last month, fall back in love with it, use shades that I had only swatched maybe or used once about a year ago and then never touched again. So I'm really happy that I have physically 2 new pans. I mean, that's nice too. This is a palette now that has 3 pans in it. I know the pans are very thin with Beauty Bay. You get large pans, but they are not super stacked. But having said that, I still think it's nice to visually see that this is a palette that I love, and it is a palette that I love, and it's unique. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. So that is my update for the Book of Magic. Next up, I had the Huda Beauty. This is the Desert Dusk. This was my first Huda Beauty palette. I've since bought 2 new ones that I haven't actually tried yet. I got the Naughty Nude because I watch Paulina Beauty, and you know, I'm really, really influenced by her. I think she's lovely. She's amazing. I love the makeup that she uses. So I'm heavily influenced by her decision on what she likes. And she loves that palette, so I bought that one. I also got the Mercury Retrograde. I got them both on sale, so because I really did not want to buy them full price. I think £58 is just too much money for them, but I got them off sale. I think the Mercury Retrograde was 30% off, and then the Naughty Nude was 20% off, so I thought that was a pretty good deal. And I haven't tried them yet, but this was the first time that I ever tried Huda Beauty, and At first, I wasn't sure if I was all that impressed with it, to be honest, but I also know that this is not the palette that everybody loves from Huda. So I kind of kept that in mind. Having said that though, when I used it in my Shop My Stash, I was like, I'm not sure if I like it. In the last month, I do really like this now. I really do. I've really had a pleasure. I've had no issues with it whatsoever. There isn't a huge amount of physical difference, I think, in the way that it looks. But I definitely have used it quite a bit. I think the formulas are just a lot stiffer. They're not as creamy and soft. The pans are a little bit thicker too, so it would be harder to pan this as opposed to the Book of Magic, but I have really, really enjoyed it. So again, I had 2 focus shades. I will just go through the whole thing though, and then just when I get to the focus shade, I will let you know. I think that's what I did with the other one. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but that's what I'm gonna do. So Desert Sand is this first one. I use this the most. This I used 9 times. Yeah, I use that way more than anything else, obviously to just set my lids. Musk I used 3 times. I actually really like this shade. I wasn't sure, so it took me a while to actually use it. Once I used it, I put it in my crease and I loved it. I didn't even want to do anything else after that point. I just think it works really well with my skin tone, so really loved Musk. Eden I used twice. Amber I used once. Blood Moon is really beautiful, but I only used twice. And Oud, which was a focus shade of mine, I used that 6 times. So this is just a soft matte. There's really no difference. You can't even, like, if I had used one of the Beauty Bay matte shades in that Book of Magic palette, you would have physically seen a dent. And, you know, I use it the same way, the same brush, but you just can't see anything. So it's a lot more densely packed, this formula, which is fine. I don't mind it at all. But yeah, I used it 6 times. Celestial I used once. Nefertiti was also my second focus shade, and I used that 5 times. So this one I would use as an inner corner. It's really beautiful. You can see a little bit of disturbance, but not a huge amount. I mean, I'll put a photo of what it looked like before and what it looks like now. I don't know if there's really all that much to say about it, but I did enjoy using it. Twilight I really, really enjoy. I think Twilight is stunning. I used that 5 times. This was more of a focus shade, honestly, than Oud was. I just wanted to use it all the time, and I liked putting it in my inner corner. I just think it's like a pop of purpley, shimmery beautifulness, and I love that. It's definitely a topper, but it works really nice in the inner corner. The next one is Amethyst. I used that twice. Royal I used twice. Retrograde I used twice. This got a beautiful flip. It's sort of a purple with that greeny, I don't know what color that is, but it's a flip and it's nice. Cashmere, I really like Cashmere. Cashmere took me by surprise, so that one I used 3 times. Angelic I used 3 times. Cosmo I used once. It is the glitter, but you know, I just topped it off and it was fine. Turkish Delight I used once. Saffron, I really love Saffron. I think Saffron is beautiful, beautiful. It looks a little reddish, but actually kind of goes more pinkish, and I really like that. I used that 4 times. And then Blazing I used once. So yeah, that is what I did for this month. I really like this palette. I'm excited to try the other 2 palettes that I've got from Huda Beauty, see what they're like. If they're like this, then I'm sure I'm going to like them. If they're even better than this, then obviously I will. I really like the color story of this as well. I did say that I thought it might be a little too warm tone for my liking in terms of this time of year, but I managed to make it work this last month. I didn't feel that way at all, as opposed to when I used it in my Shop My Stash and I used it like 3 times. I really, really enjoyed this. So yeah, this one I really liked. And that is my update for this month. So yeah, if you're not familiar with how I did it last time, I picked 2 new palettes to roll in to the project. And then in those palettes, I picked 2 focus shades. But really, I want to use all of the shades at least once, because my main goal is to fall in love with my palettes, learn if I really like them. And if I don't, then I can decide then if I'm going to declutter, because I don't want to start decluttering palettes just because they don't look like they're palettes that I would like, where they actually might end up being palettes that I like. I just need to work on them, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I've like run out of breath. Okay, so so what I did last time is these were in my Shop My Stash and I just pulled them into the project. This time I'm pulling a palette that's in my current Shop My Stash, which I believe I haven't posted. If I haven't posted it, or I might have just posted it before I post this video, it's going to be one or the two. So it might not be in my most recent one, but it'll be in my December Shop My Stash whenever I do post that, or whenever I post this video, it might already be live. But anyway, it is the Chilled palette from Makeup Revolution. I really like this palette, so I'll just turn it over so it looks proper. You can see that I already physically like it. I don't have any pans in it, but I definitely like it. It's got some glitter shades, which I know people don't like. I actually haven't really worked too much on the blue side, so that's why I want to roll it in. The blue side, the green side. That's why I want to roll it in. I've mostly focused on the neutrals, and I love it. I think if I do hit pan, it will be in Relax because I think I always use that and I really like it. I also might hit pan in Acapulco because there's already quite a dip. But I had Dope in my pan those eyeshadows earlier this year and I kind of gave up on it. But I could hit pan on that if I fall back in love with it. But yeah, I kind of want to know how I feel about the greens because I haven't tried too many of the greens, only lightly. I know I like Candyland and I know I like Dope, but all the rest I don't really know. So this one I'm going to be rolling in, and then the second one I'm going to roll in is not in my Shop My Stash right now because I rolled in a lot of new palettes in my current Shop My Stash and I'm not ready to sort of hone in on them yet. I literally just filmed like a few days ago and I don't know which one I would want to focus on. So I decided to pull an old palette of mine. This is actually in my Primark Rose Quartz palette. I've spoken about it quite a bit. I love this palette. It's a kind of a mess and I do have pans in here. I mean, it's not the best quality, it's Primark, but I like this color story and I think for this time of year, I enjoy pulling this out. I always get really nice looks with this. It is kind of boring, but you know, I'm just gonna go with it. So I've got 3 pans in here. I've got this one, which I don't know if you can even see, and then I've got this one. So these two were in my pan as eyeshadows at some point this year, and then this one was just a random pan that I eventually got. So I am, going to pick 2 shades from this one randomly. I'll use the random number generator, and then 2 shades from here. Those would be the focus ones. Obviously, I'll make sure I don't pick one that's already got a pan, but you know, ideally I'll focus more on those, but I also just want to focus on the whole palette. So it's like a pan that palette / pan those eyeshadows / whatever I decide this project is. Okay, so this palette has 18 shades. So I'm going to do 1 out of 18. All right, I got 1 out of 18. So I'll do 7 and 17. Ooh, the 7s. Okay, so number 7 is this shade Huff. I don't even think I've ever used this one. This is a lovely, ooh, I like this. This is like a grungy gold. I like this. This I really like. This actually reminds me of a shade that I already have that I was trying to hit pan earlier this year. Yeah, I really like that. That is a beautiful shade in the shade Huff. And then 17, oh my gosh, 17 is this Relax one where I already have quite a dip. I don't know, can you even see my dip? You can't even see the dip. I don't know why you can't see the dip. I do have a dip. I promise you I have a dip. Anyway, this is a really, really buttery matte. So obviously the two together go really, really well. Yeah, I think that's perfect. I'm definitely going to be able to get a lot of use out of that. I'm kind of happy that a green wasn't rolled in because then I can just relax with the greens, use them when I want to and not have to like worry about doing a green just because it's my focus one. So I'll definitely get a lot of use out of those two and then I'll just have fun with the rest. That's the whole point of this project for me. It's just to have fun. If I hit pan, I hit pan. You know, I'd like to get some love into these palettes. So yeah, super happy about those two. Ooh, okay, what's this one gonna be? So this one I have, okay, so this one is also 20 shades. So I will just do this again. So we'll just go 9 and 17 again. So let's see what those two are. Okay, so number 9 is this shade here. These don't have shade names, but this is a matte and it's like a salmon pink. It's not really the color that I would want to work on now. It's more of a summery color, but it should be a color that I'll be able to get some use out of because it's a nice, you know, this is a very neutral palette. So I should be able to get a lot of use out of that. And then number 17. Number 17 is this one. So I am going to roll again because I think it's going to be a little too similar to that second shade in the chilled palette. So let me just roll again so there's a little bit of difference. Oh my gosh, it's so... Number 9, no, we did that one already. Okay, number 8. Ooh, okay, this one I always pull out for Christmas. So this one is number 8, and this is a shimmery shade. It's like a reddish brick. It's really pretty. I really like it. Just bear in mind, it is Primark. The formula is not the best. I mean, that's like a neutral's dream right there. I don't know. I imagine I'll be able to do a lot of looks, and obviously I will incorporate all of the greens in this palette because I've been wanting to dip into green again, and I basically got green and red. So I'm going to be doing a lot of Christmas looks, I imagine, over the holidays. But yeah, I'm excited about that. I also like this palette for New Year's. I don't think we're going to do anything for New Year's, but these shimmers are actually really beautiful. I think they're really, really nice. And I think they work really well if you're going to do like you know, a night out look. They're really beautiful shimmers. So this palette, you know, yes, I laugh about the fact that it's Primark, but I actually really like this palette. So I am really happy to be rolling this in. It's like an old favorite of mine. So hopefully it doesn't disappoint me. And yeah, those are my shades I'm going to be working on. And hopefully you liked this update. It is a little bit different, but I'm enjoying it. So hopefully you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope everyone has a wonderful holiday whenever you watch this. And I will see you next time whenever I decide to film. All right, bye.